You recently reconnected with your father's side of the family.
Yes, yes.
Why would you make a decision like that at this point in your life?
Sure. So, I mean, culturally, I believe that it's important for anyone to align with both parents, but particularly with the father side of the family. And as a male, as a Musotho, it is imperative that I align, culturally speaking, with my father's side of the family. That is how we keep the family name alive. Because when we get married, and I didn't make this up, right? I was just born into this world. When we get married, Jill, I remain a Matlotlo, but when you get married, you have to change your surname. So when your surname changes as a woman, you've now gone off to another family to build that family. So imagine if we all, moved away from our father's lineage, right? There would be essentially, like a long list of families that just family names that just disappear. And so that is the reason why I'm aligned in that fashion. Um, my biological father wasn't always in my life. In fact, it was only when I was 13 that I met him for the first time.
Wow.
And I've spoken a lot about this. And it's been a liberating experience, right? And we've had like an on and off since then. He passed away in 2011 without me really getting deep into who he was, and him getting deep into how I was. You know when you look at someone that didn't raise you, like, and it's your dad, and anybody that's experienced this will get it. Like, you're like, hey, but this guy's my dad, eh? So essentially, that the relationship was on and off. And after his passing, I almost closed that chapter. I said, all right, he's gone, and that's that. But in the back of my mind, I knew that one day I need to go home. I need to go and reconnect with my father's side of the family for the reasons that I've stated, for cultural reasons, and also to realign with my ancestors. Because I'm a firm believer in ancestors. I'm a firm believer in spirituality and connecting with those that have come before that, as an African and as Musotho. So for me to have a life that is balanced spiritually, being able to connect with my mother's side of the family and my father's side of the family was critical. So my forefathers on my mother's side of the family have been my champions, right? And I know this. But you know what? So has my ancestors on my father's side. But you need to acknowledge that. And part of reconnecting with your father's side of the family produces that. That has been the journey for me to say, not only in the flesh will I reconnect and meet my siblings and be with my family and, go through all the rituals and the journey, but it's also at a spiritual level to say, I now feel like I'm balanced. My entire army in the spirit world is with me. And that is the importance. It's quite a process, Jill, because essentially it's not just about like, okay, cool, let's go to Home Affairs, do what we need to do, and that's that. Families get together, they discuss, how this should work. I had to, as an adult and as a man with a family, make the decision on my own to say, listen, I want to do this. So it was my undertaking with no pressure from anyone. And the sole purpose is, the reasons that I've stated. So it involved families coming together, discussing how this union would work, how this reintroduction into the family would work. But eventually it came down to saying, this thing is going to happen. And this is how it's going to work. We're going to welcome you into the Matlotlo family. We're going to perform a ritual for you that welcomes you into the family, that introduces you to your ancestry. And we're going to give you a name that forms part of a long history and family tree of names within the family, right? Because there's power in the name as well. So all of that was done. Now you can imagine, it's one thing to do it for me. I've got a wife, I've got kids. So, the whole bus has to go through the same thing. So, reconnecting with my family wasn't just about me. It was also about my family as well.
So Anambali really supported you on this.
Yeah, my wife was supportive. In actual fact, even in times where I was unsure about, whether to go left or right, she was like, we're going forward and this is what you need to do. And you know it.